Let's dive into this concept of tone in communication, focusing on how a speaker's tone influences us as listeners. It's really fascinating when you break it down by its elements.
Absolutely, yep. So we're talking about tone as in pitch, tempo, volume, intonation, and stress, right?
Exactly. It's like the secret sauce behind how meaning is conveyed beyond just words. For instance, just imagine someone saying, "Could you get that piece of work to me tomorrow?" Without altering the words, the tone can flip the meaning entirely.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. Because with a positive tone, it sounds like you're doing them a favor. But with an exasperated tone, it could imply frustration or urgency.
Precisely. And what's awesome is that these elements, pitch, tempo, volume, intonation, and stress, work together to create that overall tone. For instance, a high pitch might suggest anxiety, while a moderate pitch tends to come across as calm and authoritative.
Yeah, and the tempo can really set the mood too. If someone speaks super quickly, it might indicate excitement or stress, whereas a slower pace might feel more methodical.
Right, it's like if you're talking about instructions, you might use falling intonation to come off confident and clear. But if you're asking a question, a rising intonation is more typical, making it sound like you're seeking something in
Yep, exactly.
return.
And what about volume? I mean, someone speaking loudly might seem authoritative, yet if they're too loud, it can almost feel aggressive or angry, huh?
Spot on. The volume can set up that delicate balance. Too low and they might seem disengaged, too high and they're at risk of sounding forceful. You really have to pay attention to how these cues affect your perception.
It reminds me of listening in a classroom where the teacher deliberately modulates their tone to grab attention and stress important points.
Exactly, and that's why the teaching strategy here is so interesting. Imagine like a teacher modeling different tones by repeating the same sentence in varied ways. That hands on approach not only helps in recognizing the elements of tone, but also in understanding the emotional or intent based impact each variation carries.
Absolutely. Right. But can I just challenge one point? Sometimes it feels a bit overstructured to break down everyday conversation into these five distinct elements. Do you think that might oversimplify how nuanced our listening really is?
That's a fair critique. It is a bit didactic to compartmentalize tone into separate elements, since in natural conversation they do blend together. However, it gives a structured starting point to actually reflect on those nuances. Think of it like learning scales before
Exactly, I see your
mastering a
point.
smooth melody.
Yeah, that analogy makes it clear. And it seems like there's an emphasis on reflection. Those reflection questions drive home how our voices change and how we can interpret different emotions and intentions from tone alone.
Totally. It's about being mindful, noticing, for instance, if a speaker's pitch rises when they ask a question, or if the stress on certain words hints at underlying emotions. The idea is to develop a keen ear for these changes so that we don't just process words, but the mood and purpose behind them.
And that's golden, because our understanding of a message isn't just semantic, it's emotional too. Like when someone speaks with relaxed intonation, it subtly communicates that they're open or non confrontational, right?
Yes, exactly. Even in written communication, we try to simulate this, but in face to face interactions, tone gives away so much more, like whether the message is an instruction, a question, or say, even an invitation for dialogue.
Definitely. So, if we break it down, pitch gives insight into emotional states, tempo reflects energy and engagement, volume can denote authority, intonation clarifies the statement's form, and stress pinpoints emphasis. That's a pretty robust toolkit for listening.
Right, you are. And in terms of classroom practice, it's super practical. Teachers can pause after a statement to ask, "What tone did you catch there? And why?" Over time, this routine enhances students' listening skills.
And it all reinforces the idea that um, really paying attention to the how of a message can be just as important as the what, don't you think?
Exactly, because sometimes the words might be the same, but the underlying tone tells a whole different story. This understanding can even inform how we react or respond in conversations.
Yep, definitely. And let's not forget, by honing this skill, we can also become better communicators ourselves. When we're aware of how our tone might be perceived, it can adjust our approach in interactions, both professionally and personally.
Absolutely. It's really like the difference between just being heard versus actually being understood. When you design your speech with an awareness of these elements, you're effectively setting up the listener to catch the intended emotion or command.
So, to bring it all together, the step emphasizes that listening isn't passive. It's an active process where recognizing tone can um, transform how we interpret communication.
Right on. And as a final note, by routinely practicing this awareness, whether in a classroom or just in daily conversation, you build a much more nuanced understanding of human interaction. It's like upgrading from black and white to full color.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And that really transforms not just how we listen, but how we engage with the world. It's impressive how such subtle variations can lead to so much different meaning.
Yeah, it really is. And next time you're in a conversation, just take a moment to notice the highs and lows, the quick and slow parts, and how stress falls on certain words. It might change the whole experience for you.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. This whole exploration of tone reminds me how rich our communication is, even in the simplest sentences.
Agreed. And as we wrap up, it's clear that understanding tone is essential not only for effective listening, but also for meaningful interaction overall.
Absolutely, well said. Thanks for breaking that down. It's been really eye opening to revisit how tone fundamentally shapes our perceptions and interactions.
My pleasure. It's always exciting to explore the intricate layers of communication with you.